Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This film is rated M for violence and coarse language. This is Kia's Reviews and this is my review of Creed 3. Creed 3 is the newest addition to the Rocky spin-off franchise and is the first film that actor Michael B. Jordan has ever directed himself. After two incredibly strong predecessors, the pressure of extending this out to be a trilogy, especially with this movie not containing Rocky as a character, there was a lot of pressure placed on Creed 3 in order for its story to uphold the quality of this franchise. Even though I predicted every supposed plot twist and the entire movie played out exactly how I imagined it would from the first 20 minutes, I appreciated the new approach that Creed 3 adopted in comparison to the previous two movies. Fans and audiences alike will come to this franchise for the boxing, but what this film lacks is the boxing, making for a shift in storytelling by focusing almost entirely on character development, from Adonis Creed's family to his past friendships with Jonathan Majors' character Damien. This has a much more personal narrative to tell and does leave the boxing elements of this series on the sidelines, approaching the film with a more character-built script, which is bound to disappoint fans of the Rocky movies. To a certain extent, I enjoyed watching how the families and characters were built upon and were fleshed out, given that Creed has reached the point in his career where he has opted for retirement and instead focuses on connecting with his family, leaving his boxing days behind him. Since there only seemed to be one fight in the entire first half, I was anticipating for a really intense and brutal second half with all of the fights, but it never eventuated to that sense of ambition and excitement like in the past two Creed films. Instead, it purely felt as if this story was mainly just to work on the characters and getting to know their pasts and personalities a lot more. I did find this disappointing because the whole reason anyone goes to these movies is to see the two men fight each other on a brutal scale. However, I do love character development, but not when it takes up 90% of the film's runtime and then rushes the core element of this entire franchise. Even though the characters occupy most of the progression of the movie, I still enjoyed watching them develop and confront the consequences of their past, specifically Adonis, and Michael B. Jordan's performance was strong and significantly added a much-needed new layer to his character. Undisputedly, Jonathan Majors as Damien was the best part of the movie, even if his role isn't as fleshed out as the others. Just seeing how strong his body looks is intimidating enough on its own, but once he starts to create this demeaning, manipulative, and menacing character, you can't help but always be drawn to his performance. He generates a fiery fuel that feeds his aggression perfectly to the point that even though you know exactly what will happen in his arc with Michael B. Jordan, it's still exciting to see it be played out because he has a way of commanding every scene that he is in. His ferocity is limitless, and it shows as he lands solid and dangerous punches while separating himself from his past in the most ruthless ways. The electricity between Jordan and Majors is impeccable, and while the fights may be very rushed and are quick to finish, there's always an undertone of menacing intimidation that emanates off of Majors, which I loved. Creed 3 also has some good messaging throughout its family story, which I appreciated, as it does take time to focus on the consequences that come with using violence as a first resort, and it was a heavy theme that resulted in some very resonant sequences. Creed 3 may not deliver what the past 8 films have delivered in both the Rocky franchise and now the Creed movies, but what I did like is how it defined a new approach, giving Michael B. Jordan a very solid start as a director. I did wish that there was more boxing involved with the story, but since this outing develops its characters more and vies for a more personal narrative, it's a new approach that will work for some and not for others. I hoped there would be more of a balance so it delivered the personal insights into Creed's family, but also I wanted some more excitement with more boxing scenes, but unfortunately in a 2-hour movie, to have only 3 fights that never exceeded 5 minutes each in length, it made for a very underwhelming experience when you have the expectations that you have with this franchise. Jonathan Majors was the incredible standout with his intimidating take on the character of Damien, and while the entire story was predictable, it still made for an enjoyable time, even if it was nothing like the previous 2 Creed films, so I'll give Creed 3 a 7 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram for all of my latest movie reviews. This has been Kia's Reviews, signing off for now.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.